In this video, we're going to finally get to doing more things with Extrude. We're going to do multiple extrudes on a single object and explore what the terminations are and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and create a sketch, same like I've been doing, and I want to make a center rectangle. I'll make it 5 by, let's say 2, and finish that, and extrude it up 1.5 inches as a new component. There we go. So now I have this box here, and remember, we can sketch on anything that's flat. So any of our origin faces here we can sketch on. So sometimes if you have a part and center on the origin, you can't pick that, but if you zoom kind of out, then you can grab it, or you can expand the origin here and pick on faces right there. So either way works if you wanted to sketch on one of those. You can also sketch just on a face. So if I just click sketch and pick a face, you can see you can also, if I'm just kind of coming out around the part, it'll try and find the closest of the origin faces to be on. I can click on those and do that. But I can also just pick on individual faces here. So now I've sketched on there, and you can see the grid is lined up with that face that I'm sketching on. And so I can go in and do a rectangle here, and then dimension how big I want it to be, whether from there or I can tell it from here to here. So if I just want to see what I can move, so right now this blue line here is what can move. So I need to dimension this way or that way, so I can just tell it, I'm just going to go from here just so we can see how this works. So if I tell that to be 3 inches there, all right, as I finish, and I can extrude, I can go all the way, but it doesn't know what to do yet because there's 2 closed areas in this part. If there's only 1 closed area, it's going to select it automatically. But since there's 2 closed areas, it's saying, what do you want me to work with? So I'm going to tell it, use that. I'm going to go all the way through. And so right now it's trying to go up, and there's no all the way up. I'm just going to hit the flip button, tilt it down, and you can see it automatically changed the operation to cut right there. And I can say OK. So I've got this part here. If I want to make some changes to it, I can go into edit my sketch. And remember, I made that slot 3 inches from this side of the part. So if I change this to 10, and I finish the sketch, you can see that this line here still stays 3. Because that's what I dimensioned, that's why I told it to stay the same. So this cut will always be 3/4 from here and 3 inches from there, no matter what I change on the previous series of steps. I can also go back in here and tell this that I don't want to go all the way through. Maybe I only want to go down 1/2 inch. So negative is going to go into the part. If I just put a 1/2 inch, it's going to go away, but it can't go away and cut. I could join and add material that sticks out 1/2 inch. So positive is always going to go away from the part. Negative is going to go into the part. So if I cut, I need to make that a negative. And it's going to go into the part. I can also tell that I don't want to just go there. I can tell I want to go to something. I want to go to this face. And it'll just automatically go to that face. That's great. But I can also put an offset and say like a 1/4 inch. So, oops. I want to go into the part. So negative 1/4 inch. So now it's always going to stay and leave a 1/4 inch right there. So if I change this height of the part, it's still staying a 1/4 inch there. So I can have within the terminations there, by change between a distance, where having it's always going to be the same distance down, no matter what I do. Or I can have it all the way, if it's a cut, just going to go all the way through no matter what I do. Or to an object, and then I can just have it always go to that face, or to an offset from that face. So let's say I'm just going to leave this one here, just down 1 inch. And if I make a cut on this side, dimension that. can tell this cut to go to this face. So you can see that those two are now lined up. And if I go back and edit this one, I tell it to be, oh no, I want that to be 5 inches away. You can see both those cuts move with it. This one changes and this one goes to be the same as where that one was. I can also create a sketch over here. And if there's something over here that I want to use, but I can't see it on this sketch, you can see it automatically captures the edges of that face. But let's say I want to know where this line here is. I can go in and go to create and project, or just type P. Now if I just pick this edge, or that edge, that'll turn into a point, because it's going to just bring that forward perpendicular onto my current sketch plane. So I can just pick that line there. It's okay. So now this line represents this face here. If I finish that and kind of leave it there, and then go back and edit this extrude to make it deeper, you can see that line moves down to stay lined up with that face. So I can have that kind of control of lining things up with each other. Go ahead and edit this. So let's say I want to go ahead and I want to make a box that's the same width as that, but it's going to stick up a little bit. So I'm going to do that and tell it to be, I don't know, 1/2 inch. That's great, but I want that box to be in here. So when I extrude, I'm going to tell it to go -0.5. So maybe I want a 1/2 inch wide box in there, but I want it to be 1 inch from this side. And so for the start, instead of saying profile, just like I did at the end with doing a to object with an offset, I can do an offset here and tell it to offset -1 inch. So it's going to go into the part 1 inch and then have my feature. So if I measure from here to here, I get my 1 inch. And if I measure this line here, it tells me that that's the 1/2 inch line. So I can do that, so I don't have to draw exactly where I want to be making my parts. I can also create a sketch. Go back to this plane here. On my plane, so now you see my plane is going right down the middle of my part. So I can do that too. Again, I want to capture this edge. I want to project. So just P, click on that edge and say OK. And now I'm going to do a rectangle from here to here. And I'll tell it to be some size. So if I'm moving around, I can see kind of where that is. If I press the slice button here, it's going to kind of just cut off the rest of my part and let me see just where I am. So that might be a good thing to get used to using when you're doing things. Now I can finish the sketch and extrude. And so one of the other options I have here for direction is I can do a symmetric one. So now I can make it go evenly from that plane out to the side. I can either tell it how far I want to go just on one side, and so the overall width will be double that, or I can tell it the overall width. So I want it to be an overall width of 1 inch. So now I have that in there. So a lot of things I can do within the extrude command by editing where it's starting, the direction, the extent of the part. So, all right, let me know if you have any questions.